Rewind-A-Dynamite from the post-wrestling site. AEW, lighting up the fuse. Sit back and enjoy the bubbly as we hear from John and Wai Ting. Where we're going, we don't need roads. And if the buck stops here, this thing might blow. Everything you hear are opinions of the show. And if you don't like it, go to the forums and let them know.
It is John Pollock and Wai Ting. Here we are for Rewind-A-Dynamite. Welcome. We are here. Everybody. We are ready to chat about Dynamite. We have just warmed up a half hour of news talk from the passings of Kerwin Silfies and Brett Wolverton. Somehow we had to discuss Swerve Strickland, which I guess is mandatory every time he fights. Go online and find out why.
People will probably. I don't recommend it. Actually, I probably wouldn't recommend it.
Well,
you'll find out soon enough.
Yes. Certainly, I can only imagine the discourse that is currently going on X. I'm sure he has his supporters as well. What's going on with Chris Jericho's contract status with AEW? Ronda Rousey speaking about approaching Dana White with the fight with Gina Carano. It's not happening in the UFC, so spoiler, didn't happen. As well as WWE going to Italy for a PLE in May, Roxanne Perez update, and a guitar case casket match preview for Impact on Thursday night. Wai Ting making a bold prediction about this week's Impact.
You have me curious. Yeah. I'm predicting a casket that is in the shape of I'm predicting a guitar that is the shape of a casket. All right.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
No?
Hey, I want to make mention. So usually like once a month, I'll take my daughter to see a movie. And so on Family Day, we went to go see this new movie, Goat. Have you heard about this film?
No.
It's an animated film. It's I think Steph Curry is one of the executive producers. It's basically this undersized goat that gets signed as a publicity stunt for the local, they call it the sport Roar, but it's basically basketball. And
okay,
this movie was excellent. Okay, of all the movies I've taken my daughter to see, this might have been my favorite. I was so into this movie. I think I enjoyed this more than she did. The main character,
where this was going.
Yeah, this is it's voiced by one of the characters from Stranger Things, but this movie was great, and it did a great at the box office last week. And apparently, I think it did it was way above expectations. I think it did $35 million or so. But for if you are out there and you have kids and this is on their list, I'd recommend this one. I was thoroughly entertained by this movie.
Okay, nice.
It's so far my movie of the year. It's the only movie I've seen this year, but it's my Tanahashi Okada so far this year.
Do you think it's got Oscar buzz attached to it?
It should.
It's that good. Did you like it more than the movies you watched last year?
Is this better than the movies I saw last year?
Yeah.
No.
You had to think about it, so at least you would put it top 3?
Yeah, I don't know. You're. I'm trying to show my appreciation for this film, and then you're just going to the deep end here about Oscar-worthy.
You're doing that yourself.
No, I'm just saying I enjoyed this movie. I don't think we need to attach the greatest of all time here. Well, it actually is.
You rarely
the greatest of all time.
Start these free podcasts, the free portion, really butting in and spending 3 minutes talking about a movie like this. So I imagine you really liked it.
Well,
you didn't like it that much then.
The litmus test for how much one of these movies is that I liked is how long until I put my headphones in my ears. And I did not touch my headphones during this whole hour and 45 minutes.
It passes the headphone test. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right. That's my recommendation of the week. Goat.
I look forward to next week's.
Yes. I'm going to make a list of all the movies you're going to have to catch up on, Wai, once you go back into the wild.
I look forward to hearing your next movie review with your daughter.
Well, the next big one is going to be Super Mario Galaxy. That comes out in April. That's going to be a big one. She wants.
The first
there's
one?
a trailer. There was a trailer for the Cat in the Hat that I'm dreading that one. It looks awful. I don't want to see this at all. But
okay,
we will see.
I await maybe a can you give me like a top 5 by the end of the year?
Of kids movies?
Yeah.
Oh, certainly. I can definitely give you a top 5. It's going to be really tough to top this one. But the first Mario Brothers movie from a few years ago was really good. So we'll see how this follow-up does. On to Dynamite we go. The GOAT of wrestling shows. At the Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento, they announced a sellout. 3,700 tickets distributed. So not a gigantic venue, but it was full, and it was pretty hot for most of the show. They had run a Dynamite here a year ago on March the 5th, doing just under 2,900. So close, but this was announced as a sellout. And we get the promos off the top, much like we saw, I believe it was last week. Mina Shirakawa, Willow Nightingale, Megan Bayne, Swerve Strickland, and Kenny Omega all giving promos, including Swerve Strickland, saying over and over, I need this. I need this. And that message would bookend the show.
He did need it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Renee speaks with Orange Cassidy. This was earlier in the day. Roderick Strong has bolted on Orange Cassidy. I love this. So even after last week, they were going to team up this week. But Cassidy, a very forgiving man, but Strong screwed him again. So he got Big Tom to come in, and poor Tomohiro Ishii coming in here. And the man did not have a leg to stand on by the end of this match.
Unfortunately not. We shall get to that.
Yes. Opening things, it's an eliminator bout between Jon Moxley and a favorite around these parts, Mark Davis.
It sounds like a favorite around Tony Khan's house, too.
I guess so. This guy's getting booked.
He keeps booking this guy.
He's on every single week.
Yeah, and I think he deserves it. He's been looking amazing so far.
So Renee previews the match, noting the 30 hours of flying that the talent have had to do with Australia. So they've all got to be either jet speed or jet lagged between, depending on your bookings.
That's
Davis
Kevin Knight with, Yokozuna.
That's right.
Tag team.
Yes. According to Hulk Hogan, you know how many days they've been working straight over the last week? That's probably 12 days of work over the last 7 days because
I don't think they worked any time because they went backwards, and so time undoes itself.
Well, what was Hogan's thing? It was because of the Dateline, he ended up working 400 times per year.
Yeah.
that was a good one. That was like a top 5 Hogan ism of all time. Mm-hmm. So Davis sits down, preventing a sunset flip, and he's chopping away. And then in the most gruesome spot of this match, we see this all the time, mainly it's with a chop, but Mark Davis winds up and misses Moxley, punching this post. And I'm thinking, as soon as he hit this, I'm like, that's either the greatest worked punch into a post I have ever seen in my life, or this man just shattered his hand. And it looked to be, I don't want to say he shattered it, but he busted this thing open, and his hand is just all bloody from this punch. It's like he sliced open the knuckles of his hand here. Like, you would think he would have done damage to the bone, but he literally lacerated himself off this punch.
I would imagine he would have bladed to achieve this.
You think so?
Yeah, why not?
That's a hell of a lot of effort for
what?
A hand spot.
Do you know who you're talking about? This is a Jon Moxley match.
Yeah, I still don't know if I'm blading my hand for this 14-minute TV match.
You think cutting a hand is that much worse than cutting a forehead?
Yeah, I do.
I've never done it, but I have been cut with my hand, and that is certainly more than I think I would do than cutting my forehead open. So
is it a chance he had maybe some scar tissue on his knuckles, and it legitimately just opened up here?
Maybe he just pulled a hangnail.
That could have been it too. Yeah. Forget Hangman. It's Hangnail Davis. Yeah, okay. So this becomes the whole focus. Moxley is biting on this. This man, it's just this is like an addict finding a bag of meth underneath the subway seat. He just goes after it. The crowd's grossed out by this. How
often does that happen?
What, you put your hand underneath the seat at the subway and find meth?
Yeah, who tapes meth on the bottom?
Depends where you are. The New York subway train, probably more often than you think. Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, Toronto is
or New York. Yeah, we're not that far off.
Yeah, it's not great. So I was desperate for another cutaway to Renee if she was still standing ringside for all of this. He wrenches on the hand.
She is totally desensitized to this by now.
Yeah, I wonder if she just has like Moxley get like tested like after every TV. Like just, you go down to the clinic, Marcy is at the front desk, just ask for the regular and
they might live
get the results.
Yeah.
Yes. So Moxley ducks a lariat, hits a cutter, and Davis hits this gut wrench pile driver, gets a 2 count, and the two just fire off lariats at one another. And then finally, Moxley applies the bulldog choke, submitting Davis 13 minutes, 58 seconds. Great opener again. And, Mark Davis, he is certainly, the post Doyle injury. He has certainly kept his head above water these couple of weeks.
It's actually worked out pretty well for him, like the singles run. It's
almost like it's a mission of Tony Khan that's like, okay, this guy got totally screwed with the Aussie Open breakup and getting hurt. I'm not going to let it happen again.
He's kind of pulling a Kyle Fletcher on Jake Doyle. Like, what Fletcher kind of did to Davis, completely outperforming his tag team role. Davis is kind of doing to Jake Doyle. So it makes me wonder if there's anything for Jake Doyle to come back to. But I mean, it says a whole lot about, I think, how well Mark Davis has been doing here. Like, this was one of his most high-profile matches since he's come to AEW. Mm-hmm. And by extension, I think that would probably mean his entire career, facing Jon Moxley here. And a TV match where he got, 15 minutes? How long was it?
14, yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah. And this was a situation where I could certainly see Mox actually requesting this match from Tony, because I think Davis is exactly the type of wrestler he loves to watch and probably loves to wrestle. Just like this big, heavy brawler who puts everything he has into every one of his moves. And I thought they worked really well together. And it brought out some of I think the dirtiest offense we've seen from Mox since he's turned into a babyface in the best way, right? I love what is, I think, a pretty unusual usage of hand blood. And I think it offered the chance for Mox to do a lot of really gruesome biting spots. And
another great tag team name for the future.
Hand Blood. I love it. Yeah. It's a good, cool band name too. But Davis isn't just staying afloat. He's actually flourishing, as a singles right now.
Yeah. I mean, so far he's stepped up, and I don't think this guy's harmed at all from losing, because he's showcasing really well in these, and does seem to be someone that has some attention behind them. Mm-hmm. Hangman did a promo after Grand Slam Australia. So this was recorded in canon before MJF's title match. So he's saying he hopes MJF wins because I'm going to ruin any hope of you having a happy future, and I'm coming for you at Revolution. Didn't have any backup words in case Brody won the title. He was just dead set on MJF. So I'm glad that he, the right guy won, or else this would have been a very cold match coming out of Australia.
He wasn't giving Brody much of a chance.
Yeah. And you too, Brody. I mean, we agree on a lot of social issues. Yeah. FTR and Big Stoker in the ring, and Dax is fighting the crowd, who are just booing them down, stating that the Young Bucks were the best team in 2016. They even coined the term FTR. And now they are clearly in second place. Stoke explains what makes him sick is that the Bucks tried to run Private Party out of this company a year ago, and then last week they're shaking hands. We have an overwhelming hatred for our coworkers, and refers to the Young Bucks children as domestic terrorists for the way they run around the locker room. And the Bucks show up, FTR gets super kicked, and then we get the Sean Brett spot where the Young Bucks super kick Stokely backward in his wheelchair after he tried to backpedal away from them. And the Young Bucks
was this a Brett tribute from FTR, you think?
It might have been. Only this aired on the broadcast and they didn't miss the cutoff at the end of Raw, which that spot did in 97. Okay. And they issue the challenge as the number one contenders for Revolution. So kind of all the matches we were talking about that have been set up, they kind of announced tonight. So we have at least the top end of the card for Revolution after tonight, and this being one of them. So I'm guessing your tag program, it's going to be these two at Revolution, and then you have to imagine that you'd want Copeland and Christian back for Dynasty in Vancouver.
It seemed, Canada, you would assume so. The timing would work out, certainly. I thought Stokely was a lot of fun to watch here for his reactions. This is a matchup that I can't necessarily say I think they spent enough time away from in order for me to really crave it again. But it helps that it's always, always, always excellent, so you can't really be mad at it. You're getting a Bucks FTR match.
See, I feel about the Copeland Christian deal is that and I know that Copeland's been, he's been doing like a movie project. So they probably, this has been longer than they hoped for, but like that angle with Beth Phoenix, it was like, it's so long ago that I feel like there's going to be no benefit of that angle. It's just, they're going to get the comeback pop and we're going to the match. But like that angle is so out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Beth is probably like well healed. Like,
Yeah. She's like, I'm good. I'm good. You guys don't need to do
She's
this.
probably forgotten about it at this point.
Yeah. So they air Brody King's segment with Bandito from after his loss to MJF, but they keep the crowd noise on, which was definitely a choice. And we got the very audible fuck ice chants for Brody King here, who was not on the show, but says he doesn't want to feel sorry for himself. He's coming back for a fight next week in Denver. And I will guarantee that he will have those chants next week.
Yeah, in Denver, sure. This was certainly enough to carry the momentum. And I mean, certainly Grand Slam was, I think this was, and once he appears in front of a camera again in a live arena setting in an urban center like Denver, I imagine them to continue all the way throughout the LA stay at Revolution. So it's interesting to think about, like, again, what AEW's and by extension WBD sort of like role is in all of this, because they are ultimately able to platform it all, right? And they have the ability to not platform it if they so wanted to. So the fact that it continues, does it say something about, their stance on it all? Or does this feel enough like they're being neutral?
Something tells me that in a world where Sean Strickland can have whatever platform he wants, I think this is a fair trade on the other side of things. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next week, but definitely prevalent here. Willow Nightingale, Marina Shafir, Megan Bayne, and Mina Shirakawa for the TBS Championship. They really tried to put over Willow, not just one, but 2 title defenses in Australia. And I like the fact that they made the house rules something that, they promoted some of the matches on TV last week. And while it isn't anything like a big event, I do like the fact they acknowledged that, yeah, this house show happened in Brisbane and we're incorporating it into, she had 2 title defenses there. And then Danielson adding, she did media all day Tuesday. So is she burnt out from all this, the 30 hours of travel plus having to do media on Tuesday? Will she reach burnout?
No, it sounds like a grueling week for her.
Well, she starts off with a cannonball to the floor. Mina hit a big high cross to the floor. Shafir and Bayne start working together, and Willow fires back with spine busters to several of the women. And after a double clothesline spot with Megan Bayne after they square off, all 4 women are down. Bayne powerbombs Shafir onto the timekeeper's desk, and then Willow hoists up Bayne on the turnbuckle for a German off the top and was going to rotate Megan Bayne, who just rotates her head at the end. How dangerous was this move? Let me quote Bryan Danielson. Oh!
He pretty much landed on her face first.
Oh my God. Her landing here was, I thought she was coming down right on her head in real time because it was late that she got rotated over. And yeah, comes down on the face. Danielson was very worried. He was like, I don't know how she's standing after this. This was a scary one. And then Mina hit like the lightest hurricane you've ever seen to Willow, then goes for the figure 4, but it's caught with a small package, and Willow retains in 11 minutes and 15 seconds. But yeah, I thought the match had its nice points to it. I thought that it was, fine TV match overall. I enjoyed this more than the tag title match at Grand Slam on Saturday.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well coordinated, and I think like relatively simply organized from the start. Essentially, this was largely a tornado tag team match between the baby faces and the heels, and I thought like that was perfectly fine because it made for a really strong reaction towards the end when Bayne and Ford finally disagreed and they broke their truce. And it led to like a really great exchange between the two with like a really satisfying table spot with Bayne sending Shafir through the ring bell table. That German from Willow was crazy. And I mean, I thought everybody like, you know, felt like a good presence in this match. And this was definitely to me a sign of a healthy women's mid card in AEW, where like you could say all four of these women certainly have identities, they have personality, they're memorable, and I think like they're pretty good workers, you know, almost all of them. And like I would say all of them. I shouldn't even say almost all of them. The one thing I would like to me point as like something I would change about this match is I wish Marina Shafir would give up on those 619 head scissors.
Her and Zelina Vega both need to retire those.
Yeah, especially with Marina,
because both of them struggle, and the misses outnumber the hits.
Yeah. Like I think Marina shines most when she's employing like real looking offense, whether it be the strikes or her judo, which like, you know, like the judo looks incredible, right? Not like this sort of like, I don't know, fantasy stuff. Like I think you leave that to, you know, people who are more suited to that style.
Do you think Marina's going to be enlisted in any training camps over the next couple of weeks? Is she going to be called upon?
I mean, to replicate Gina Carano, probably not, but yeah, maybe a sparring round or two, sure.
Yeah, I was gonna. The one point, and I know this show was kind of loaded with a lot of stuff. I do wish there was some kind of focus on like Lena Cross after debuting on Saturday, and you know you could do something with her on Collision, I guess. But to me, it was interesting the fact I was curious if they were going to make any mention of the Iconics on tonight's show, because they opted to use them on the house show on Sunday instead of Grand Slam Australia, and it might just be a case that they're going to wait for a more prominent time to debut them on television. But that was interesting. Like they made no mention of them, and it's just confined to those on social media that would have known that they were there on Sunday in Brisbane.
Very true. It's almost like they didn't exist, but I mean, maybe they're just waiting for a better opportunity.
Maybe they come in as like shooters now. They're going to do a totally different gimmick. Okay. They're going to be like Marina Shafir's, like young girls.
The new Death Riders.
Exactly. Yeah.
Death Riders with two eyes. No?
Sure. Let's go with it. This is when they did the tribute for Kerwin Silfies. Very nice. Like whenever AEW does these, they always seem very like heartfelt, and in the case of like Shivani and Danielson, work directly with him as well. And it's always silly in these kinds of segments that we focus on this, but just the fact that Danielson didn't have to like dance around saying like I worked at WWE, for instance, because God, I always hate these when they.
I didn't even notice, but oh yeah,
he just said like when I worked in WWE, or when I got to WWE, I didn't know anything about television production. And it's something about Danielson. Like obviously we knew he was like deep into into like creative and stuff, and you know, it's an area for a lot of talent at your disposal to like learn the production stuff as well. And it seemed like he was someone that capitalized on that while he was there.
Yeah. Well, I just imagine like being in the role on TV as much as he was, maybe given some level of direction on like, you know, like how you come across or how to look, where to look, things like that, you know, not to mention like, you know, being a broadcaster himself, you know, with the company and everything.
True. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
MJF and Hangman come out for the face-to-face, no physicality. One of these days, they're just going to say, have at it. You can just kill each other. We're okay. Yeah. We've got backup. We've got a really deep card. MJF is not here to cut a cutesy wrestling promo to sell tickets. I hate your guts and everything about you. Your white knight, holier than thou demeanor, and says that you are not on my level. And the gall of these fans to call you the main character. But most of all, I hate that you have 2 wins over me. You are a lucky shot. But notices something is off with Hangman, and he says that you are in your head because twice you've held this title and twice you've crumbled under the pressure. And you're thinking if I win it a 3rd time and crumble, people are going to realize I'm a fraud. You're a lucky shot, and now you're all out of bullets. I'm going to end the myth of the Hangman and your cowboy shit. And I'm going to do it on my birthday at Revolution.
Awesome promo. This was like strong MJF.
Yes.
Stuff. Yeah.
It's kind of the side of MJF that is just like, it's a great promo for building up a match and not being so reliant on like inserting like the couple of like shock value lines that are kind of, it's part of the MJF character, but he doesn't need those as like to be reliant upon. This was very effective. And then Page comes back and says, I beat the dog shit out of you twice last year, and says you are a coward that hung on to your title shot and ended up taking the spoils of greater men in the 4-way at World's End. I hate you more. And because the reason I hate you more is because I've never met someone more like me. Desperate for love and acceptance, loyal to AEW. Everyone here wants the AEW title, but you and I need the AEW title. And this is going to end for good at Revolution. And it can't just be a normal match, and tells him to think of a stipulation and ask what the people want. MJF says, you're out of your mind if you don't think we're having a straight up title match. And Page says, I know you're scared. And if you agree to this stipulation, I will never challenge for the men's world championship for as long as I live. And MJF agrees. He's going to think about it for a week. But Page says, Texas death match. So this was kind of like just announced for us. But
that part was kind of confusing. When Page said, think about a stipulation, and then we're going to what? Let the audience decide? Is that what he was saying?
He said all of these. He went from you decide to the fans decide to I'm going to decide, and we're going to reconvene in a week. And you've set the bar. I don't know if you can go much higher than Texas death match. So it almost has to be this.
Are they both going to suggest one and then like throw it to like an audience informal poll or something? Like
it's gonna be like Family Feud. The survey says
that part was a little bit confusing. I mean, it's not. So okay, he threw out Texas Death out there, and for them to like, if it's not going to be Texas Death, it has to be better than Texas Death, and it has to be like unanimously agreed upon that this is better than Texas Death by the audience. So
does he have to put his career of challenging for this belt on the stipulation that MJF comes up with? Like, he could choose a blindfold match. Like, he could choose anything right now, and you've put this heavy stip on. Like, I would think you're putting the stip up. You get to choose the stip.
I would agree. That seems fair to me. Like, forget the audience, forget you, MJF. I feel like I'm putting my career, like, my entire championship aspirations for my career.
You cannot use your arms or legs. You can only win via headbutts. That's it. That's your only offense.
A spelling bee.
Produce. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe Page could win that one.
So this is interesting because this is probably like the most maligned stipulation that they ever utilized with Cody Rhodes back in the very earliest stages of AEW when he lost to Jericho. And then last year they did the deal with Ospreay and Swerve at All in Texas where they wouldn't be able to challenge for a year. They put like a time limit on the inability to challenge for the belt. My thought here is that this was such a mess with Cody but the other side of this is that I think there is probably no one more than Tony Khan that has looked at this, that he has some idea in his mind to kind of retcon this awful idea that kept Cody legitimately away from this title for the entirety of his AEW run. And he's got some great idea here because I didn't think anybody believed that MJF was losing this belt in March. But this stipulation will certainly increase that. They've made this into a super big match for March. And even before the stipulation, I just thought the promo segment was awesome between these two.
Oh, it was so great. Like as great as I thought MJF's promo was, I mean, I thought Page was, oh my God, so much. I mean, they were both incredible, but Page.
These are two of the best talkers in the industry. It's also two of AEW's biggest draws. Given how well that World's End pay-per-view did, this could do a really good number for AEW with a month to go.
Yeah. So I left Grand Slam honestly feeling a little bit disappointed at this main event because, I mean, maybe I was just so caught up in the whole Brody King of it all. And I saw a lot of people, even, if they didn't want Brody King, they would have much preferred having Andrade be the challenger because they felt it was a fresher match. I don't disagree with all that. But by the time Wednesday came around and we got this promo segment, I'm sorry, I've kind of forgotten about all those other guys. Like, there's really nobody else who could pull off this sort of storytelling, like a Hangman Page in this sort of level in the main event. And I felt like this was the type of segment that made Page feel like a main character again. And I love these stipulations. The first one, if it's a Texas death match, sure, but could it be like something on above a Texas death match, like a Texas death match in a cage or something?
California death match.
A California death match, okay. How
on
about
a
just
beach.
an American death match? Like you encompass all the states.
Oh,
To it.
okay.
No. So I wait to see. I think that needs maybe a little bit more clarity about like who gets to actually decide the final vote. But whatever, it promises to be something big. But I also think like putting the title, not being able to challenge for the title again, makes this a lot more interesting. When they did this with Swerve and Ospreay, they at least like limited to what, like a year.
Yes.
You can't challenge for a year, which you could actually buy. The fact that they didn't do it here raises the stakes a lot more. But I would also say in my mind, like maybe to me tends to sway my like belief that Page is going to win. And I have to think they know all of that, right? So what do they have up their sleeve when they're suggesting something like this?
I mean, I think that to me, I thought that this is going to be like MJF, like going through the fire of like all these big contenders, and he'd have to face Hangman, he'd have to face Omega, he'd probably have to face Swerve, and at the end of the road is Ospreay. But if I'm looking at Wembley, I believe the biggest match you can make for Wembley is still Omega and Ospreay. I think of all the available options, I do feel that is the biggest match. But there's a lot of different ways of where you could go. Like you could have Page win this, and you do like Page and Omega in Vancouver instead. Like they've certainly hinted towards Hangman and Omega.
True.
And Omega stating like in Australia, like I thought.
Is that too much, like, bouncing around of the title in a short period of time?
You could argue that. Like I don't know if you want to be flipping it around. And
You already had a short Joe reign. Like this would be a short MJF reign, and Page ends up winning it in Revolution, and then only to give it to Omega potentially in Vancouver. That's probably too much.
And there's like the counter argument is that if like you were to have Page lose this, I mean, it's not the most ideal, but you would have a long time until you'd have to pull this, is that ultimately he could turn, and that's like he violates the stip. And that was always the way for Cody to get out of the stipulation. It's something AEW doesn't like to do, but it's not like gospel that they have to hold on to this. And
But for a stipulation like this, though, I mean, sure, he would have to turn, but then like the promoter would have to turn too, right?
Well,
By allowing it.
Be
the promoter going back on the stipulation.
Maybe he could go for
he could force Tony to sign a new contract.
Maybe he goes heel, wins the championship. I said for the AEW Men's World Championship. This is the AEW Championship, period. I'm not acknowledging which gender is which.
Oh, I thought he was going to go after the Women's Championship.
He could do that too. Yeah.
Do that?
Yeah. Hangwoman.
Okay.
All right. Well, great segment here between these two, and we've got a month to build this one up. Death Riders promo. Moxley prefers coyotes over wolves. They're survivors. And all of this was to get our weekly challenge to the Don Callis family. I think for every collision for the rest of the year, they're going to have multi-man tags. That's my thought.
They could fill a whole year's worth with
just mix and match. And Moxley is not done with Takeshita, wants a no time limit match at Revolution, so that has also been added for March 15th. So we're getting quite the card for Revolution with 3 matches official so far.
And Yuta is keeping the hair hidden with what looks like.
Oh, that's right. They made no big deal of this at all tonight. Yeah, you're right.
They mentioned it on commentary, but yeah, he's like got a hoodie on, and I'm assuming some sort of like, I don't know, a toque.
Yeah,
underneath.
Is Pac next for the haircuts?
Maybe each member of the Death Riders will go bald at some point. Yeah.
Orange Cassidy, Tomohiro Ishii against Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors. So Kidd hits this exploder on the floor to Cassidy, and then Connors tackles him. Connor then puts the hands into Orange Cassidy's pockets, and the crowd chants, "You fucked up," as Cassidy does a kip up and makes his way to tag Ishii. And so we get the showdown between Ishii and Gabe Kidd, which just escalates and escalates. The crowd's getting into all the big slaps, and Kidd fires off this big lariat, and down goes Big Tom. And Ishii starts grabbing his hamstring, and the man cannot get up. He is like a turtle on his back. And now I will give you this. Tomohiro Ishii might be the best seller in all of professional wrestling. So I watch this man, and I give him more leeway than any other performer about unconventional selling. But I genuinely thought that this man was messed up here.
I mean, it didn't really make sense in the body of the match, and it didn't make sense considering he's just coming back from injury to tell another injury story.
Yeah, right? I mean, it was a lariat spot. It's like, if anything, like he had the big shoulder taped up. You would have thought he would have like. I totally bought this as this guy looked really messed up. And so he can't even get up. And I thought Connors, like, he tried his best to just keep going here. And goddamn, like, Tomohiro Ishii just battles his way. Like, he ended up having to take, like, a power slam. He tries a vertical drop brainbuster, and Connors avoids it. Like, for a guy that had one leg working, this was, like, the best one-legged performance I've seen of a guy in quite some time. Kidd and Cassidy fight into the crowd when Darby shows up, nailing Gabe Kidd with the skateboard, and Ishii, the signal cut out for me on Triller, and all of a sudden Ishii just scored the fall, so I don't even know what he hit him with, but Ishii and Cassidy win, and dude, poor Ishii is just down here. Rick Knox, I don't think this guy thought this guy was hurt, because no one's coming to check on him. Cassidy's checking on him, and he's struggling to get up. I don't know. I thought this guy like tore a hamstring, or even worse. It looked really bad here for this guy. I don't know if this guy's going to be on that New Japan show in Trenton next weekend. Actually, he's got the match with Oleg Boltin.
He had a bloody nose too by the end of this match that I have no idea how he got. So
his shoulders fucked up, his hamstrings probably fucked up, and he busted his nose. This was not a great night for Tomohiro Ishii. So a lot of heat on Roderick Strong for bailing.
It's entirely his fault. Yeah, I of course you hope he's okay. You know, especially somebody who we've been without for a few months now due to
he hadn't wrestled in a month. He'd been off for the last month.
Only a month? It feels like it's been way longer than that.
He did. He did like the Road to New Beginning shows.
Okay.
From AEW, he's been gone a while. Yeah, he was doing New Japan shows.
Yeah, like this is the case where I would even ask, like, why was this match continuing the way it was with as much EC involvement? At the same time, I feel like we can give different sort of like leeway with the Tomohiro Ishii. Like, this might be one of those guys where I'm sure he would have been really pissed off if this went any other way than what this was. But still, at his age, at 50 years old, working this sort of style of match, of course, you have to ask how much longer he has left, and it's a conversation I never. Really
in fairness, he has paced himself the last couple of decades for his 50s.
He really took it easy, yeah.
So, the Don Callis family accepts the challenge from the Death Riders for Collision and Moxley's challenge on behalf of Takeshita. Takeshita and Fletcher are still in Australia, and Okada walks in stating, "I showed up to do my job, and I'm a champion, unlike Takeshita." And then he brings in his new bestie, Andrade, who says his eyes are on the world title. It's like, well, that would have been a great promo for last week when you had a shot to get the title match and you lost on Saturday. So your eyes are now off the title, at least for the next.
He didn't say which world title. All right.
That's right. We have multiple world titles, including the CMLL heavyweight title that they want to go after Claudio's belt, and we're going to get that on Collision as Josh Alexander is challenging Claudio Castagnoli in San Diego on Saturday Night 4.
Yeah, so Alexander's challenging Claudio, but maybe that's leading towards Andrade Claudio.
Yes,
yeah, with like maybe in CMLL, who knows? But like these segments, they build like to like 5 different programs, like in one like continuous shot. So it actually is quite impressive.
We had another Hook promo. He said, the ops need to get their numbers up. He has sent Shibata to Japan for the Japanese recruiting while he's scouting all the D1 programs because I am the best second-generation wrestler of all time and the boss of the ops.
Did he say he's scouting like actual D1
Yes.
Like what, athletes? Or did he just say that about himself? Like that he's been scouted by D1 schools because...
Oh, I thought he said he's doing the scouting domestically, and I thought he said he's scouting all the D1 programs. So I imagine this guy being at like football practices.
I don't think so. I think he said, like, essentially he's saying, I'm an expert at scouting. I know a thing or two about scouting because I've been scouted by the best D1 schools.
Oh,
I think
okay.
is what he says.
Okay, wow.
So I don't think he's like starting an AEW NIL or Ops NIL program or anything like that.
Well, this guy's clearly gone heel. Like, that is the very, very clear direction that we have seen with this man.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, like still not sold, you know? Like this man just does not have like leadership energy attached to him at all. And but like this is a situation where they're kind of forced to choose between Shibata or Hook. And I mean, obviously I guess you would pick the person who speaks the language, you know, to a higher level. They're kind of forced to try again with Hook, but we'll see if there's improvement because I do fear the audience has kind of lost their patience with it.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Do we have an update on Nick Wayne? I feel he's been just gone forever. Like this guy was sort of in like this similar kind of role with like, and Kip Sabian's gone too. Like as a result, I mean,
injuries.
Yeah,
you know?
I was mentioning this because I was talking to someone about like just the amount of people in AEW. Like you could go back years and probably at every single time, at least over the last 3 years, the people that are either hurt or just not being used, you could probably build up like such a stacked card of just those people on a monthly basis of like who is not around. The Brawling Birds had their first match on Dynamite against Becca and Viva Van. And Wait, you said we got a tornado tag earlier with the four-way. This was an unofficial tornado tag because Windsor and Hayter were inside the ring for 90% of this match together. Not a care in the world by Aubrey Edwards. It's just like, sure, they're the Brawling Birds. They're supposed to brawl. And they're just in there the whole time. There's no warnings. There's no counts. There's just forever they're in together.
The double team spots look cool. That's what's more important.
Dude, Becca hit a double Os cutter. It was the most impressive thing in this match. And the Brawling Birds double team her. There's a backbreaker by Hayter, lariat by Windsor, and then they hit their version of the heart attack. 2 birds with 1 stone, which I will have great joy calling each time they win. 3 minutes and 55 seconds for the Brawling Birds. 2 birds with 1 stone.
I think Ishii should join them. Then they can actually be the 2 birds with 1 stone.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be something.
No, okay. I like seeing AEW make like a real effort at creating a new tag team from the get-go. Like, you know, we're talking matching tights, music, vignettes, double T moves, you know, rather than like, it feels like the norm is them just kind of sticking 2 single stars together. And then if they end up being successful, then we'll give them a tag team name. So it shows that they're strongly committed to this idea, like just from the get-go. And I think they should, you know, especially for Windsor, like this gives her a spot on the show. And I think for Hayter, like she's been missing a spark as a singles since she's come back. Maybe this will help her get that back. But I can certainly see them building this team to, you know, either a challenger or a defender role for the titles at Wembley, wouldn't you say?
Well, I mean, their gear is going to guarantee spots at All In for sure.
Yeah.
That's
not Clash in Italy?
Probably not. No. They're ready for the Clash at Wembley. Renee interviews Chris Statlander and the returning Thunder Rosa. Statlander has not been cleared for 1 to 2 weeks. It's always weird when you haven't been cleared, but we know when you'll be cleared. Like, the body heals when the body heals. You can't just say, like, oh, you'll be cleared.
Some injuries you can, you know, like, especially maybe she's like selling concussion protocol.
Well, concussion is the perfect example of when you cannot put a timetable on. So, anyway.
Maybe it's just more like, make sure you rest, you know.
Well, how many weeks do you think they gave Thunder Rosa after All in Texas? Was it 30? Because that's about the time she's been out since July, as she informs us she's been gone since then. And she doesn't care for the Triangle of Madness. So Statlander warns her, be careful around them. And Thunder Rosa will face Julia Hart on Collision in her first match back.
It really feels like Thunder Rosa is in the position of being Tekla's first title defense, which I mean doesn't spell well for like Rosa's title aspirations, but I mean it's a good choice for Tekla to gain credibility as champion.
Kevin Knight against Beast Mortos. Knight says if Mortos wins, LFI will get a trios title match on Collision. And you know how they love these eliminator bouts. So very good match that these two had. Knight did a springboard into a headbutt. But then Mortos takes over. He torques the neck and he hits this tornillo through the ropes. And at this point, this crowd was like, you know what? Kevin Knight's great and all, but this is our guy. And they fell in love with Beast Mortos. They're chanting Lucha. And I was thinking at this point, I'm like, this has to be setting up a match for Saturday. And this is going to be a big pop. He does the pop-up Samoan. Knight returns, big drop kick, lifts him up for the slam, and then does his leaping Rana, jumping DDT, and then he goes to climb for the UFO, and this whole crowd knows, shit, he's going to lose. And they're just like, they're anticipating this as he climbs, hits the UFO splash, and he pins Mortos in 8:38. And man, this crowd was just deflated here because I think they really were hoping for Beast Mortos to win. I wanted to see this trios match on Saturday a lot more than I want to see the Demand face Jet Set Rodeo on Saturday. So you are getting a trios title match, but yeah, I just thought this crowd, they really got into Mortos here.
I wasn't feeling like they were turning on Knight, by any means. But yes, I could totally sense the crowd like falling in love with Beast Mortos, and I feel like there's like so much babyface potential within him that could be played up. I would love to see what a Mercedes Moné and Beast Mortos on-screen pairing would look like, as like a sort of unofficial Beauty and the Beast type of like thing, I think that'd be a lot of fun and a great way to like
intergender titles. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, totally. Sure. Yeah. Why not? Well, whatever. Like, I mean, just to play off, I think the funness of like a Beast Mortos, which would be great. But I thought Knight looked really strong here. Like he essentially, if you're going to wrestle Beast Mortos, I mean, you can't ask for a better sort of canvas to show off your high flying moves. So I really enjoyed this match, maybe despite the fact that it wasn't really that important in the grand scheme of things.
There's another Will Ospreay video that I think we're going to get these for the next couple of months. He says, this is not where the best wrestle. This is where the Billy Goat wrestles.
Yeah. How many promos does he have within him from like,
I think he goes on Skype every week and he just reads stuff and they're like, don't worry, we're going to put viz all over this and it's going to look great. Okay. Do you have any new x-rays for us? Anything neck wise? Oh yeah. Let me look here. I'll get my doctor to just fax something over. Not a good Ospreay.
I appreciate the attempt.
I'm trying.
The Ospreay.
All right, we go to the Demand.
You have many months to work on it.
It's tough. The Demand and Ricochet want to move on from Jack Perry. Yes, don't we all? But they want to go after the trios belts. So Beast Mortos had to like climb through hoops here just to get a shot at a title. They just cut a promo and they got the title match. So Mortos needs to learn how to just cut a promo instead, right?
Truly, yes.
That's the lesson. And then they go to their door, and a knife has been put through a sign on the door for the Demand. So Jack Perry is he's coming for them.
Yes, that's right. Unless it's somebody else's knife.
Yeah, it could be. Who else? Who else is wielding a knife?
Maybe the knife pervert.
Oh, you're right. That could be a.
I think we're going to finish up with Jack Perry first, which okay. I'm not personally all that excited for, but
third time's a charm for that singles match.
I am excited to see like more of like this Toa Leona, who I think like showed some of the most personality we've ever seen from him here. He's now, I mean, he's kind of dropped the entire. I don't necessarily know what you would call like what his gimmick was before, but he was very much more, I would say, big guy, like wearing this sort of like the Gates of Agony were more of like what would you describe them as prior to this? Like they were almost like LARPers, like they were just kind of like more like dressing up in like as like I don't know, medieval warriors or something like that.
They were the War Raiders.
They kind of a little, but now they're actually real people. Like he's dressed up in a yellow hoodie now, and he's talking like a normal human being. So
imagine Eric and Ivar showing up, and they got like yellow like FUBU
like
hoodies.
FUBU. I was thinking FUBU. Yes.
So Collision on Saturday, we got Claudio and Alexander for the CMLL heavyweight title, Jet Set Rodeo and the Demand, and Thunder Rosa against Julia Hart announced. But now it is time for the main event: Swerve Strickland, Kenny Omega, and this started with like 4 minutes until the top of the hour. And I imagine that TBS is pretty much like, this show ends when it ends. Like, you guys just go until they went like 20 past the hour, and it's just programming be damned at 10 o'clock on Wednesday nights on TBS.
We set these streams for like 10:35 so that like mainly like I could catch up, and it's not really offering that much buffer.
We finished this like honestly. It's like 10 minutes before the show's supposed to start. Yeah. So it's a wide range. So they get into things very early on. Swerve hit a Fosbury flop, but like came down with like his knees onto Kenny. Danielson's commentary was interesting here, where he's talking about how, Kenny says he feels the best he has in years, but you never want to tip off your opponents to how you're feeling. And, I went through all of this. And Shivani's like, must be hard to keep that secret. And Danielson's like, it wasn't a secret. Everyone knew I was screwed up backstage. And so his theory here is that Kenny's actually a lot worse than he's letting on to people. So we continue, and Swerve teases a vertebreaker on the edge of the apron, but is stopped, and Omega hits a snapdragon. Then he goes for one off the apron. It's blocked, and eventually he lifts Swerve for a German off the turnbuckle, throws Swerve, who rotates and lands on his feet, and Kenny just bumps right to the floor here. So they actually went through basically with this German spot, and Swerve instantly just rolls up and suplexes Kenny on the floor, follows with a 450 to the back, and then we go onto the top turnbuckle, and the Snapdragon is delivered to Swerve, rotating him over, so he lands on his front, gets a 2 count. Swerve then points to his shoulder off of the Snapdragon, and as Kenny goes for the V-trigger, he pulls Aubrey Edwards in front, and Kenny hits Aubrey with the V-trigger, and Aubrey is dead on the mat, and the crowd is stunned. I kind of like this spot as well, and especially like using Aubrey here, it gave the crowd that was much more shocked by the spot of using the female referee here, and it's also like the announcers are like, Did Swerve pull her? Was he just trying to get attention for his shoulder? Like, they made this like plausible deniability for Swerve in the moment, but
and Swerve played it off really well. Like, this all happening so fast is I think really, really great timing from
it wasn't the goofy
involved.
Just pull the shield in. It was he's signaling for his shoulders hurt, and it actually kind of like threw back to like Ishii in the last match, where it was like this guy was like in a lot of pain and trying to get the ref's attention. And anyway, so Aubrey's out here. This was a pretty good spot.
But Swerve's facial expressions, I thought, in this moment were like really perfect in that like he kind of looked like he did it intentionally. Like he was almost like sort of grinning, at it. But you weren't really sure because it wasn't so overt. And, in the moment, you are still left with a lot of doubt about whether or not he truly did this on purpose.
But by the end of this all, you kind of drew your conclusion that this was purposeful. So Swerve stops a one-winged angel, hits the house call, has the visual, but there's no referee, hits a Swerve stomp onto the edge of the apron, and then catapults Omega into the exposed turnbuckle after removing the padding. And the crowd starts to boo Swerve, which is amazing to hear that they got them to that point. And he hits another Swerve stomp as Paul Turner enters. And when Kenny kicks out, this whole place explodes, because I don't think anyone thought that he was kicking out from this. Omega ducks a house call, and he makes this incredible comeback. Snapdragon, V-trigger, Poison Rana, and then goes for the one-winged angel and is caught by a house call instead, and Swerve puts him down with big pressure for the win. Really great match that they ended up having here. There was one moment on the floor where Kenny went for that leap onto the barricade and slipped and had to regain his footing to hit the moonsault off of the barricade, but played it off well of just just resetting, hit the moonsault. But man, this really picked up at the end. But this was largely like setting up like a Swerve turn by the end of this. He gets the win, and Danielson is just yelling at Swerve, "You're better than this. You're better than this, as Swerve chokes Kenny over the top rope with a chain. And the announcers did a great job of explaining that, last week Kenny used the line, "You're not the most dangerous man in AEW." That's Brody King. And this is Swerve regaining that moniker. And the final attack comes when he places the steps next to the desk, hoists up Kenny, and delivers a vertebraker through the desk. And then Swerve ends it by yelling, "I needed this. I needed this," as a callback to his opening remarks. As much as I enjoyed the match, it was all the character stuff with Swerve that I thought put this just over the top, that I thought was really, really effective. And I would argue that just doing violent spots with Swerve, I wouldn't have been so confident that the crowd would have necessarily turned on him, but they got the reaction they wanted out of this.
Yeah, well, it was a combination of the Aubrey spot, and then after that, doing something that wasn't necessarily cheating, but dirty in the catapult underneath the turnbuckle that definitely swayed the crowd towards one direction. And I thought they really played it masterfully. Again, the way Swerve was reacting to the Aubrey spot itself, I thought was just perfect. And I also love the fact that he didn't give it away in the body of the match at all. He played the rest of the match pretty clean. He didn't call, it wasn't like Nana was interfering or anything like that. He won it pretty straightforward, with the exception of what you might consider a dirty tactic in the catapult underneath the turnbuckle. But, I mean, basically, you're leaving it into doubt whether or not he's actually turned heel by the end of the match.
Yeah, and they could certainly play it like he's going to play this up as just I needed this win, and it's not like this just
I feel by the attack, it was pretty well confirmed. I meant before the attack. You're kind of still left in suspense. And then he confirms it with the after the match attack, and then the hang of Kenny Omega. I feel that's pretty confirmed. But I thought as a quality match itself, after Ciampa Fletcher last week, this felt like another contender for television match of the year in back-to-back weeks from AEW. This to me was every bit a pay-per-view level match between these two. I think living up to whatever expectation you might have of a match taking place between Kenny Omega and Swerve. To me, Kenny Omega still feels very much like he's at his old level, with performances like these. And I thought Swerve showed that he is every bit worthy of being in the same conversation of a Kenny Omega being at his best, with a match like this. I mean, he felt like Page felt like a main character, but Swerve really felt like a main character coming off of this particular show, or at least I should say main villain. And of course, doing the hanging spot at the end here like this, draws direct parallels to Page. So maybe there's a future match between those two again in the future. Or it could be both of them on the same side, but on the other end.
Yeah, I mean, this certainly puts Swerve as again, if you're looking at the idea of Hangman wins this title and Swerve is now a heel, that's a really big match for if you want to go to that match at some point over the next several months. The one thing is that, yes, there's the potential for a lot of these title changes, but I just think their main event scene is so interesting. They have built up all these top characters, and yeah, you could see all these different pairings, and I think they're all interesting. And then you have this class right underneath them of your Andrades and Brody Kings that are sort of on that cusp. You have Ospreay well in the background for now. It's just a really interesting main event mix, and I guess we will see what Omega's status is for Revolution, because you could certainly come out of this with a rematch coming, and just a question of when that would be. And you could see if all things are equal, of Kenny at least getting that win, and that could propel him to get the title shot in Vancouver. And they made this whole match about they didn't even give Omega that visual when Aubrey was down. It was Swerve that got the visual. So it's Omega has no claim to this match. They made it all Swerve, and then he decimates him after the fact. So it's some mountain for Omega to climb while he's away from the title.
Oh, definitely a rematch with Swerve, maybe on the agenda for Omega before he can challenge for the championship.
Double Texas death match at Revolution.
Ah, okay.
No,
but it might be big enough for Omega's opponent in Vancouver even. like this feud if they want to drag it out for that long. And with a spot like this, a vertical breaker through a table, like this could take Kenny out for that amount of time.
And Kenny going for the belt at Double or Nothing is like you could certainly go that direction too. Like I don't know if you have to do it in Canada for instance. Like it's
But if they're looking to maybe, like, if for whatever reason Kenny, maybe he's doing his like Capcom thing and can't make it to Revolution, this felt like the type of spot that would excuse that absence.
Yeah. But that's like a weekend he's away. So I mean it's but he should sell this. Like you should sell this for some time is like and by AEW standards, I mean like he should be off like for a week and then he's back to
unless you like break your finger or like I don't know whatever Nick Wayne's injury was, then you're off for like a year.
Yeah, I mean there are those injuries to deal with too. But yeah, great ending to Dynamite overall, and yeah, you got you're starting to get the Revolution card that has formed.
What do we have so far? Do you have
we have MJF and Hangman Page, stipulation to be determined. FTR and the Young Bucks for the tag belts, and Moxley, Takeshita, no time limit. So we have those 3 matches, and that means what, 12 more to come?
Probably something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. To be determined with with Omega and Swerve. Tekla's first opponent, who do you see?
Rosa, either Rosa or Statlander. Actually, Statlander, I'm thinking maybe Rosa.
Yeah,
might be
Thunder Rosa's not a pay-per-view opponent,
right? Not at this point, at least.
No.
So yeah, I could see Statlander. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, there you go, everyone. Those were our thoughts on tonight's edition of Dynamite, and we're going to be getting to your feedback and questions momentarily. But we do want to make mention that Thursday we're dropping Rewind-A-Wai number 200. It is time for WWE's Extreme Rules. What was going on in WWE in 2011? The Miz was WWE champion. The Rock had come back at WrestleMania. He was not coming back for Extreme Rules. He was busy that night, as was John Cena the only one to share the news of Osama bin Laden's compromisation to a permanent end. We're going to talk. We're going to talk quite a bit about Osama bin Laden on this show, I imagine. So that's on the docket, and stipulation matches up and down the card for WWE coming off of WrestleMania, including a country whipping match with Michael Cole and Jack Swagger against Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler.
Sounds incredible.
Enjoy. Way's going to be watching this over the next 12 hours. It's quite the pay-per-view.
I look forward to talking about it, certainly. Yeah, I don't look forward to watching it, but I look forward to talking about it.
Well, there's plenty to discuss from Extreme Rules. And then we have got Pollock and Thurston Thursday evening, 8:30 Eastern on the Post Wrestling YouTube channel. Friday night, it's Wai Ting and Neil Flanagan with Rewind-A-SmackDown. Collision Course Saturday night, and MCU later as well, dropping on the Café as Wonder Man continues. We're up to episodes 7 and 8.
Yeah, the series is actually out already, but yes, we are.
Oh, okay.
This is the finale, the last episode with Rich and WH talking about Wonder Man. I believe it or not, I heard from one John Cena this week who messaged me just to say like Wonder Man is like top 3, MCU TV shows for him.
He's the Nick Wayne of Post Wrestling.
No, at this point he's more the I don't want to make comparisons to any of those part-timers that might show up occasionally, but always lovely to hear from John Cena.
Well, you can catch WH Park and Rich Fan going through the final episodes of Wonder Man. That's up on Disney Plus as well. All right, we are going to say goodbye to everyone here on the Post Wrestling YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, and we will say goodbye.